Hey there, how's it going? Hope everyone is well. It's another beautiful day here today, and we are here to do the Course in Miracles lessons. And the lesson for today is lesson 138. So let's get right on it. Heaven is the decision I must make. Let me repeat that again. Heaven is the decision I must make. In this world, heaven is a choice, because here we believe there are alternatives to choose between. We think that all things have an opposite, and what we want, we choose. If heaven exists, there must be a hell as well, for contradiction is the way we make what we perceive and what we think is real. Creation knows no opposite, but here is opposition part of being real. It is this strange perception of the truth that makes the choice of heaven seem to be the same as the relinquishment of hell. It is not really thus. Yet what is true in God's creation cannot enter here until it is reflected in some form the world can understand. Truth cannot come where it could only be perceived with fear. For this would be the error truth can be brought to illusions. Opposition makes the truth unwelcome, and it cannot come. Choice is the obvious escape from what appears as opposites. Decision lets one conflicting goal become the aim of effort and expenditure of time. Without decision, time is but a waste, and effort dissipated. It is spent for nothing in return, and time goes by without results. There is no sense of gain, for nothing is accomplished, nothing learned. You need to be reminded that you think 1,000 choices are confronting you, when there is really only one to make. And even this but seems to be a choice. Do not confuse yourself with all the doubts the myriad decisions would induce. You make but one, and when that one is made, you will perceive it was no choice at all. For truth is true, and nothing else is true. There is no opposite to choose instead. There is no contradiction to truth. Choosing depends on learning, and the truth cannot be learned, but only recognized. In recognition, its acceptance lies, and as it is accepted, it is known. But knowledge is beyond the goals we seek to teach within the framework of this course. Ours are teaching goals, to be attained through learning how to reach them, what they are, and what they offer you. Decisions are the outcome of your learning, for they rest on what you have accepted as truth of what you are and what your needs must be. In this insanely complicated world, heaven appears to take the form of choice, rather than merely being what it is. Of all the choices you have tried to make, this is the simplest, most definitive, and prototype of all the rest, the one which settles all decisions. If you would decide the rest, this one remains unsolved. But when you solve this one, the others are resolved with it. For all decisions but conceal this one by taking different forms. Here is the final and the only choice, in which is truth accepted or denied. So we begin today considering the choice that time was made to help us make. Such is its holy purpose, now transformed from the intent you gave it, that it be a means for demonstrating hell is real, hope changes to despair, and life itself must in the end be overcome by death. In death alone are opposites resolved, for ending opposition is to die, and thus salvation must be seen as death, for life is seen as conflict. To resolve the conflict is to end your life as well. These mad beliefs can gain unconscious hold of great intensity and grip the mind with terror and anxiety so strong that it will not relinquish its ideas about its own protection. It must be saved from salvation, threatened to be saved, and magically armored against truth. And these decisions are made unaware to keep them safely undisturbed apart from question, and from reason and from doubt. Heaven is chosen consciously. The choice cannot be made until alternatives are accurately seen and understood. All that is veiled in shadows must be raised to understanding, to be judged again, this time with heaven's help. And all mistakes in judgment that the mind had made before are open to correction, as the truth dismisses them as causeless. Now are they without effects. They cannot be concealed because their nothingness is recognized. The conscious choice of heaven is as sure as is the ending of the fear of hell, when it is raised from its protective shield of unawareness and is brought to light. Who can decide between the clearly seen and the unrecognized? Yet who can fail to make a choice between alternatives when only one is seen as valuable, the other as a wholly worthless thing, a but imagined source of guilt and pain? Who hesitates to make a choice like this? And shall we hesitate to choose today? We make the choice for heaven as we wake and spend 5 minutes making sure that we have made the one decision that is sane. We recognize we make a conscious choice between what has existence and what has nothing but an appearance of the truth. Its pseudo-being, brought to what is real, is flimsy and transparent in the light. It holds no terror now, for what was made, enormous, vengeful, pitiless with hate, demands obscurity for fear to be invested there. Now it is recognized as but a foolish, trivial mistake. Before we close our eyes in sleep tonight, we reaffirm the choice that we have made each hour in between. And now we give the last 5 minutes of our waking day to the decision with which we awoke. As every hour passed, we have declared our choice again, in a brief, quiet time devoted to maintaining sanity. And finally, we close the day with this acknowledging we choose but what we want. And so we say, heaven is the decision I must make. I make it now and will not change my mind because it is the only thing I want. Let me repeat it again. Heaven is the decision I must make. I make it now and I will not change my mind because it is the only thing I want. Okay, so that is a beautiful lesson as well. We have one today that is really, can make a really big impact if you do it today. The reason it's so important is because you have to realize that heaven is your choice. You got to choose it. You got to forget the illusion. You got to not want the illusion. And that, I think that's the hardest part. The hardest part is because the illusion contains all these imaginings that you have made real for you. Your family, your life, your body, your experiences, all those things you've made real for you, and you value them. And they're so important to you, and you are unwilling to let them go. And so what happens? You focus on the illusion. You focus on the insanity of what you think is real, and then you're stuck there, and you can't move away from it. And what happens to everything that is in your imaginings? It's all temporary. It doesn't last. It goes away. It fades away. It dies. You die. That is what the human experience is all about. But that is not what was meant for you. That's not what heaven is all about. And that's what you have to choose. You have to choose to see the real, to see the truth, to see and remember that you are whole and complete, filled with love, always at peace, always happy, joyous and magnificent. Now that's a choice. And the only way we can choose that is by starting to focus on that, by making a conscious effort to focus on that, instead of focusing on what we've been focusing all our lives. How long have you been alive? How long have you been focusing on your imaginings, your illusion that you've created for yourself, that you call the real world, that you have so much investment in? How long have you been doing that? Probably a long time. So it's not going to be easy to shift your perception, to start focusing differently, and start making that conscious choice that what you really want is heaven, and it's always there, and it's just but an instant that you need to shift your mind and your sight and everything that is you to that. And when you do, then you see the truth, and that's all you want. That's all you will see. So that is what we're trying to do today. That is what the Course is asking us to try. So it asks us to focus on the hour. First, the first 5 minutes of the day when you first wake up, to focus on and reminding yourself what you really want. What you really want is heaven. Heaven now, not after you die. Heaven now. And that's what you focus on the first 5 minutes. And then you remember that every hour. And then once again, the last 5 minutes of your day before you go to bed and before you go to sleep, when you close your eyes, you say to yourself, I want heaven. I choose heaven. And what it tells us here to say is, heaven is the decision I must make. I make it now, and I will not change my mind, because it is the only thing I want. And that's what you have to realize, that that is the only thing you want. Everything else that you've been wanting is not real. It's temporary, and it's not what you want. You want eternity. You want forever. You want forever peace. You want forever joy. You want forever happiness. You want forever love. And you can only have those in heaven, and you have to choose heaven. So that is what the Course is trying to teach us today. So I hope you enjoyed the lesson for today. I know it's a little bit hard because it tells us to switch our focus to something that we may not want to focus on. And it might be challenging for some of us. But give it a try. That is all the Course ever asks, for you to give it a try and see what happens. So I hope you're spending time with those you love. I hope you are enjoying the life God gives you. And I hope that you do your best in everything that you do. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.